These two Peanuts holiday items sold for me in July. This Department 56 Peanuts figurine set sold for $72. And this Wasserbach Peanuts bowl set sold for $122. Why do I share this? Because today we're talking about 10 vintage holiday items that sell for big money, and I wanted to point out that these things sell year round. So if you have got holiday items now, definitely get them listed. And if you are finding, honestly, this is the peak time to find these holiday items when you're out garage sailing or at thrift stores, because a lot of people are cleaning this stuff out of their garages. They want it gone. And so you can usually get these things for fairly inexpensive if you find them at thrift stores, garage sales, and estate sales. Hey, my name is Margaret. Welcome to my channel, Texas Gal Treasures. And today is the 5th in the series of the 10 vintage categories that sell really well on eBay. We are focusing on the holiday items today, but if you are interested in checking out the other videos in the playlist, I will link that here. And I also have a free downloadable PDF that you can follow along with and fill out the different items as we're going along in all of the different videos. And you can add some that you find yourself. And whether this is the first time you've landed on my channel or you've been watching for a while, I would appreciate you subscribing to the channel, letting YouTube know that this is valuable content for you and you'd like to see more of it. It really helps YouTube, it helps me, and it helps my videos get out to help more people that are learning to resell, because that is my goal, helping you become a better, more successful reseller. The first item on the list are Christmas and holiday blow molds. There are reproductions being made now, which also can still sell really well, but today we're focusing on vintage holiday blow molds. What are you going to look for? Now, I know if you're like me, you might think, I'm not sure I want to ship something this big, but with some of these profits, it might be worth it. If you find something like this for, say, $10 at a garage sale, it might be worth picking up and learning how to ship something a little bit bigger to make that kind of profit, because here you'll see this Tigger a couple of times has sold. That one sold for $299. This one sold for $229. And you'll hear me say this a lot, is that I like to see the same item that is sold for a really high profit from different sellers. And that shows me it's not a fluke, it's not a one-off. And in just a minute, I'm going to be showing you exactly how I get this research so that if you want to come back and look up other things, you'll know how I'm doing this so you can do the same thing for different categories that you're interested in as well. So I'm looking here, I'm focusing on the things I'm seeing repeating, not just the item, but also the brand. So there's a couple of these vintage brands that really can fetch a high profit. So first off, if you see this Tigger, grab it. There is this brand General here, which I've seen a couple times, but that's not one of the ones I'm focusing on today. This one here is called Union. So you'll see Union. This scarecrow sold for $200 with best offer taken. And then here's another Union, right? So these blow molds, here's another Union. This brand of blow molds can fetch a really high profit. And then the other one I'm pointing out here is Empire. So you'll see this lot of Empire blow molds sold for $227 with best offer taken. So what do you look for? So let's say I stumble upon these Victorian blow molds of these two angels. Well, when I pull them up or flip them over, if I'm at a garage sale, you will see Union products on the, let's say productions, Union products on the bottom. So that's how you'll know. Some of them have a sticker like this. And then over here, this one, the back, you can't really tell because it's kind of far away. It does have that sticker on it, which it might or might not have a sticker. The sticker will say Union, and they have that there. Let me get it bigger. But on this one, it is also on the plug. And so they have a picture of that. It's a little blurry, but it'll say it on the plug as well on some of these. So be on the lookout for these blow molds. If you're not sure if it's vintage, so if you flip it over and you see Union, or you see General, or you see Empire, then these are those vintage blow molds that can sell for a big profit. There are also current blow molds that sell for a good profit. So if you see them and they're at a good price, definitely look them up and pick them up. The next item up on the list are vintage paper mache Halloween items such as jack-o'-lanterns. I mean, get a load of this. So here we've got this 1930s antique / vintage paper mache like cat thing. I mean, it's a cat, but come on, look at its eyes and its mouth. Oh my gosh, so creepy. And then here's another one, an antique German Halloween pilgrim jack-o'-lantern. These sold for both over $2,000. So I have searched here vintage paper mache Halloween, 723 results in completed and sold listings, and I have these sorted from highest first. And this is August, and there's 723 recently sold items from the last 3 months. So that's this summer, June, July, August. What are you looking for? Well, it's gonna look really creepy, really weird, and really unique. So as you can see, all of these look super unique. They don't look like something you're just popping into Home Goods and picking up that's a cool like jack-o'-lantern. These are all going to be really super unique pieces, and some of them look pretty creepy. Now there are a couple of these that I think are just cardboard. These two don't really look like paper mache to me, but hey, for $1,000, I think I'm willing to pick it up. But here's this one that looks like a goblin or something, and here's a chunky paper mache jack-o'-lantern dude that looks like he's ready to come to life, right? And this vintage German Halloween black cat sold for $889. And you might be asking yourself, well, how do these people know that they're made in Germany? And what am I going to look for if I'm trying to find these German ones that sell for such a high profit? Well, they're going to say Germany on them. So when you flip them over like this one, you'll see on the bottom, Western Germany on the bottom. So you know for sure that that is definitely vintage because there wasn't a Western Germany after, what was it, in the 80s or early 90s when the wall came down. So that is definitely a vintage German paper mache Halloween item, and it can fetch a big profit, $900 or $898. The funny thing about me making these videos and sharing that these things that are selling for these huge amounts of money, it never fails. Somebody in the comments will say, nobody's paying that price for, it could be a doll or for a paper mache cat, or like, clearly they are though. So over and over again, people are paying hundreds of dollars for these really unique, rare paper mache items that are out there. People are finding them and they are selling them. And so if you know what to look for, then you can also be on the lookout for these things and find and sell them too. So here's another one of these like chubby jack-o'-lantern guys, and there's a couple of these, so I'm wondering how rare it actually is because I'm seeing 4 of them. Well, these two look like the same one, but here, and here. So they're still selling, different sellers on a few of them. And here are a few more examples of these paper mache jack-o'-lanterns that are selling for hundreds of dollars. $625 here, $585 here. Oh, look at this little pair. That might be hard for me to give up. They're so cute. But for $599, I think I could part with them. The next vintage holiday item that's on our 10 vintage items that sell for a big profit on eBay list are shiny Brite Christmas ornaments. I've started with this at the ended recently because I wanted to show you the packaging on this shiny Brite glass Christmas ornaments. This one sold for $32. Normally I will put minus lot in the search because I don't want to flood our search with things that are sold in lots because it skews the results. However, with shiny Brite ornaments, the chances are likely that you will find a lot of them. A lot of times when I go to estate sales or garage sales, they will have all of this Christmas stuff. So you could buy all of the ornaments, shiny Brite ornaments, etc., and be able to sell them in a big lot and make a really good profit. So here, this is just a big lot with lots of different vintage glass ornaments, including shiny Brite, and this sold for $490. And same thing with these others here, over $400. And then here, I'm going to zoom in on this one because you can see the box. And luckily, a lot of times with people and their Christmas ornaments, they keep the boxes they come in so they can pack them back away each holiday, after the holiday's done. So a lot of times you will find the original packaging with those items. So here's another vintage lot of 12 shiny bright ornaments for $325. As you can see over and over again, there's boxes with these ornaments that have sold for $299, $300. Scrolling down, here's a lot that sold for $260. Here's another $260 with best offer taken. And this is just one of the jumbo ornaments, and it sold for $225. Before we move on, I want to show you exactly how I do this research so that you can come back later and research other items or other categories and find out what is selling now on eBay, because you might be seeing this video and it's a year from now, 2 years from now, and some of the information I'm giving might not be accurate anymore because the market's always shifting and changing. What you'll do is come over and click Sell, and this will bring you to your Seller's Hub. Once you come to the Seller's Hub, come to More, go down to Research, and then in this search bar, you can put whatever it is that you're wanting to look up. So let's say we're looking up vintage Halloween masks. Guess what's coming up in a moment? Vintage Halloween masks. Here's the trick though. Well, one, you can search here. This isn't the trick, but you can search by 90 days, 30 days, 7 days, however long you want. But you'll probably notice as you start scrolling down that there might be masks that are labeled as vintage, but they're really not. So what I like to do, especially if I'm looking for true, accurate vintage items, is I'll come over and I'll come to used, because most of the time that's what I'll find are used ones. And then, oops, did I forget to hit? Yep, I did. You have to hit apply, Margaret. Then you can come down and actually see what vintage masks are selling. And when you're doing this, and this is what I do, I'll start listing off not just what the mask is, but the brand. And I'll also kind of keep an eye on the price over here. I can come adjust this. Look, price range sold 99 cents to $1,200. That's a big price range. So you can come over here and say, I want to only see ones that are $50 or more, because that's big money, right? But you could do whatever you want. And so here I'm like, okay, here we go. So jack-o'-lantern blow mold bandit pumpkin. I see a couple of those. And you scroll down and you can start seeing, whoa, okay, I see this one. This is like Dawn Post. Here's a Frankenstein. And just start noticing what all is selling. And these are the things that have sold in the last 90 days. And you can start getting an idea of what to look for and what kind of prices that will pop up for you, or what's been selling lately, because this will adjust based on the season or what year it is and what's popular in the moment. The next item on our list are vintage Gurley candles. What are we looking for with Gurley candles? And I don't mean like girly. I mean, it's spelled Gurley. And there are 491 results sold in the last 90 days. And we're looking at some of these items. Well, I do have a couple lots here. $331 here, $281 here. And these are vintage candles and candle-related items. Here we've got this glowing witch's brew that sold for $123. And these are little Gurley jack-o'-lantern candles that sold for $110. A Gurley orange skull, $110 as well. But it's not all Halloween, so there are Thanksgiving and Christmas ones as well. So you want to look for Gurley. But let's say you come across this black cat. How are you supposed to know that that's a Gurley candle? Well, you're going to flip it over and there will be a label on the bottom that says Gurley candles. Same thing, here's this skull, and this one has the same Gurley Candle Company sticker on the bottom. Next up on our list are Beistle items. What are these? So Beistle is a company that made cardboard cutouts and different paper cutout type items for Halloween decorations, Halloween games, and other holiday items. So what are we looking for here? I mean, this is Beistle, Beistle, and I've heard a couple different pronunciations, so hopefully the way I'm saying it is not grating on your ears. But there are 1,500 sold in the last 90 days, you guys. Completed and sold listings, priced highest to lowest here, This is a vintage game. It's like a ring toss game. This one sold for $1,500. Here's a Halloween stunt game for the party, over $1,000. And then this is a fold die cut 3D fold out that sold for $833. I mean, when you scroll down, I mean, these look like different Halloween decorations or little games you might see with little brads. You see the pinholes in the top for people to hang them up, right? So this one is a large one. It sold for $711. Here is another witch that sold for $615. Halloween party book, $576. I think you get the picture. Get a load of this cat. This one, $350 with best offer taken. What are you looking for when you're looking for these items? Well, a lot of times they'll have a blank back. If it's a game, sometimes it will have the directions on the back. I'll show you in a second. And then somewhere on it, you'll see made in the USA. So here is the back of this game. It looks like this. And the back of it is that just cardboard look. And this one has the directions for how to play the game. And then down here at the bottom, you'll see made in the USA. Well, maybe you'll see made in the USA. On some of the items, the made in the USA is embossed on the front. And I wanted to show you this owl. This one sold for $299. And this one is not just a flat image. This one's actually, the whole thing is embossed. So when you flip it over, if you see something like this, you'll see that embossed image on the back as well. Next up is vintage Valentine's Day cards. There are a lot of Valentine's Day cards out there, so how do you know which vintage Valentine's Day cards are going to be the ones that fetch a big profit? Let's take a look at the ones that have sold for the highest amount first. We've got 1,300 sold in the last 90 days. Again, we're in August, and I do have lots here. Even though I did minus lot, there are a lot of lots, because sometimes you'll find them and it'll be a whole big bunch of them. But here's this wonderful Wonder Woman with the globe. This one sold for $125. We've got the Wizard of Oz that sold for $100 with the best offer taken. Strawberry shortcake. This is a panoramic one that pulls open and is really long. Sold for $87. Here's that Wonder Woman again. And it looks like somebody has their scrapbook of vintage cards that sold for $65. And earlier we saw a mechanical one. It was a little bear. And this one is a mechanical kitten, which means it opens, it moves around. This one sold for $55. I think you have to just start looking at, it looked like the Wonder Woman, vintage Wizard of Oz. I mean, those are going to have collector bases based on the item or the person that it is, like strawberry shortcake, a vintage one like that. And then some of these older ones that are like 20s era or before look like they're ones that are also selling pretty well. Some of them are not like super PC, and I think that's sort of the nostalgia for some of them. Is the devil a sissy? That's one. And things you wouldn't find today, like a firecracker Valentine saying, I'll make a bang up Valentine. You probably wouldn't find something like that today. And this one sold for $54. So look for those unique items. Look for ones that are characters that might have a big collector base. The next item on our list is Putz houses. These are Putz houses. A lot of times you'll see them and they're made for Christmas villages and they're made of cardboard. So this is a vintage Christmas village cardboard candy container. So the top comes off of this where you can put stuff inside. Hang on, let me get to the picture of it. Here we go. And this sold for $157. With these Putz houses, they are going to be made of cardboard, and you will see made in Japan on them like this one. And the vintage, this one here had a Japanese symbol on it. But let's take a look. 320 sold in the last 90 days, and I'm seeing a few different styles. So there's a log cabin, there's a big Putz house, like house, there's a stable. These sold for over $300, these two did. And then we've got a few more Putz houses. This was a lot of them that sold for $199, and this one sold for $165. As you can see, they are they look like they wouldn't hold up very well, but there are quite a few here that have sold. There are quite a few lots too. So if you find them, say at an estate sale, I'm always thinking about like, oh, I know when I go to estate sales, I've got a whole like basement usually full of Christmas stuff to go through, a whole room. They put it all in one room for you to dig through. And now I'm like, ooh, maybe I should be looking a little more closely at these Putz houses. Some of them look like they've got this like a snow on them that has been applied to the cardboard to make it look like a snowy village. And here's a really cute one it's got like coconut shell on it or something. This one sold for $120. So keep an eye out for these Putz houses. Well, I gave you a little teaser of this one earlier. Vintage Halloween masks are next up on the list. Let's take a look at these vintage Halloween masks. We've got 1,700 sold in the last 90 days. These are sorted by highest first. And let's take a look at what we've got here. So we've got Dawn Post, which is one that I remember saying from earlier. So we've got Dawn Post Studios. This Mr. Mortimer sold for over $1,200. This vintage West Germany clown mask, $1,500. And again, I see Dawn Post. So I think if you see a mask that is marked Dawn Post, and here's another West German one, then that's something else to be looking for when you're seeing these masks. As far as these Scream masks, I see a few of them, and I know there are reproductions of them. So I would make sure if you see something like that, I've seen it a few times, but making sure that it's the right one. So this is Generation 1 on them. Generation 1, $850 on that. And here again is another Dawn Post, $799. West Germany, $699. I think we're seeing a pattern here. So if you see Dawn Post, if you see West Germany, and if you can tell the Generation 1 of these Scream masks, those are going to be the big winners when it comes to Halloween masks that are selling really well on eBay and all summer long too. Next up on the list are vintage Peanuts Christmas items. I would say any vintage Peanuts holiday items could easily fall onto this list, but because I shared a couple of Christmas ones earlier in the video, I thought, well, let's stick with the Christmas ones. 1,200 results in the last 90 days of completed and sold listings on vintage Peanuts Christmas items. And right off the bat, we see a couple blow molds. So there we get a double whammy, right? We've got blow mold and we've got Peanuts Christmas. So both of these sold for over $200. We've got the Peanuts Nativity that sold for $200. There's another blow mold. I think it's safe to say that Peanuts, Charlie Brown, Snoopy has got a huge fan base and people love Peanuts items. So if you see any kind of holiday Peanuts items, definitely pick it up. And if, for example, I was at a garage sale and I was picking up a few Peanuts items, the lady at the garage sale was like, oh, do you like Peanuts and Snoopy? I was like, yeah, I do. She had a whole another box in her garage of Peanuts items that she was willing to sell me. So make sure you make it known if you go to these garage sales, estate sales, hey, you got any more Peanut stuff? Because I'm interested. I think our list wouldn't be complete if I did not include Department 56. Get a load of how many sold there are in the last 90 days. 28,000 sold in the last 90 days of Department 56 holiday items. That is a lot of sold. I have these sorted by highest first. So here's an Alpine Village. This is a lot that sold for $2,230. Here we've got this Grinch and Cindy Lou Who sold for $2,000 on this one. There's another lot. Again, normally I pull out the lots, but I didn't on this one. But here is a Glitterville Punchy Punch Bowl, Harry Potter Whomping Willow, another Grinch one. This one sold for $1,500. People like those Department 56 figures, and a lot of times they'll have light up ones. They have ones that make sounds or movements. If you see them, pick them up. Here's an Addams Family set, $1,200. Two more of that Whomping Willow. Again, I like that. Different sellers, same item, big money. And again, more with the Grinch Village ones that people are probably making their Grinch Village for their Christmas. $1,200 on this. There are people that are buying these. They are selling. 2,800, 2,600 sold, 2,800 sold, 28,000, I should say. 28,000 sold in the last 90 days. So be on the lookout for these Department 56 figures and buildings that are holiday themed because people love them. I have 2 honorable mentions that I wanted to throw onto the list. One is Jim Shore because it's easy to spot and it can sell for a big profit. Jim Shore figures, whether they are Christmas or other, can sell for a really good profit. So be on the lookout for Jim Shore. It's got this kind of quilted look to it. So here's a Noah's Ark Jim Shore that sold for $120. And then the other honorable mention is a vintage Build-A-Bear holiday bears. So 726. This is just all vintage Build-A-Bears, but there was a cat, black and orange cat that was selling for like $200. This is Choco Cat, so not exactly the same one. I know I saw him again. Here we go. This one, and then there was a bat. So if you see, look, this is another black cat one, and then here's this bat. So black cat, I saw a couple different black cats, and then this bat. If you see them, they could bring pretty big money here. $80, $86. So those are my honorable mentions for the video today. Let me know something you think I should have added to the list. There were so many things. I probably had like 20 more tabs open trying to decide like what's going to make the list. I wanted to share some things you might have heard of, and I wanted to share some things that you probably haven't heard of so that you've got a good comprehensive list going and that you can start looking for things that other people might not be aware of that are selling for a big profit on eBay. And if you enjoy videos like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. And I've got the playlist here for you if you want to check out the other videos in this series of 10 vintage categories that are selling really well on eBay. And I will link that PDF download in the description box so that you can grab that too if you want to follow along with the rest of the videos and fill it out or add your own to those lists. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.